Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Bhagavad Gita overview, Gita with Namita series. I am Namita Purohit. It's 9:22 p.m., 30th December 2023, and Krishna willing, we will complete the remaining three chapters, an overview of the remaining three chapters of the Bhagavad Gita today. So thank you all for being such a wonderful audience, so inclined, so interested in spirituality, in the message of the Bhagavad Gita, and using your holidays in studying the Bhagavad Gita with me. It has been my greatest pleasure and the highlight of my evening for the last 9 days, I believe, or 8 days, that I am so happy and so grateful to all of you that because of you, I'm getting a chance to read the Bhagavad Gita, read Srila Prabhupada's purports, hear the lectures of our various devotees and acharyas and gurus, and read the Bhagavad Gita again and come in front of you. So thank you very, very much and hope you're doing well. Yesterday, we completed the 13th and the 14th chapter summary of that. And then the 15th chapter recording is already there in the playlist. The playlist, the link to the Bhagavad Gita, the links to how you can connect with me and my programs, and the link to Gaurang Priya Prabhu's notes. Everything is there in the description wherever you're watching. And this recording of all of these sessions will be there on YouTube in that playlist. So you can keep referring to it again and again. You can share it with your friends to inspire them to read, to give them a base systematic understanding of the Bhagavad Gita and help them grow in their surrender to Krishna and achieve the supreme aim of life, which is to serve Iha yasya harer dasya karmana manasagira nikhilasva apyavastha su jivan mukta suchite, is that whatever condition of life we may be, wherever we may be, that we are constantly engaged in the Lord and His devotees' service with body, mind, words, our intellect, everything. And in that consciousness, we leave this body so that we can achieve the supreme destination. We can attain Krishna's lotus feet, shelter at His lotus feet. And that is what our goal is. And let us spread the mission, let us spread the message with many more people. So today we will start with the 16th chapter. Your homework was to go and read the 13th, 14th, and 15th chapter and also watch the video of the 15th chapter. And let's start sharing the slides now. Okay. Yeah, this is the mode. Here we go. So these are the slides from the 15th chapter that I have. And it talked about this beautiful banyan tree. The 15th chapter is my favorite chapter. Chanting it gives me goosebumps. Very few things in my life give me goosebumps. The 15th chapter is one of them. It's so amazing and so beautiful. And it's the Yoga of the Supreme Person, the Purushottam Yoga chapter. And it talks about this beautiful banyan tree and how, it's the material world that we live in is a reflection of the banyan tree, and is the actual, and we live in this reflection here, right? So everything is upwards and downwards, and then depending upon, this is representation of the material world, and depending upon our position in the banyan tree, we are other. This is where Krishna is, along with his like in the spiritual world, as you can see in this picture. And this is the inverted banyan tree that we live in. And the closer we are to the roots, the closer we become to Krishna. And the reflection is based on our desire. Anyway, it's a fantastic metaphor for those interested in metaphors and literatures and analogies. This is unbeatable for those looking for surrender, how to surrender to Krishna, understanding the nature of the material world, the jnana of the material world that Krishna has given in the 13th and 14th chapter, and how that plays out. Unbeatable explanation in the 15th chapter is mind-blowing. The depth that is there in these 20 shlokas. So I'm sure you have gone through it. And depending upon our position on this tree, we have a different destination. We have a certain consciousness and we have a certain destination. So now we come to chapter 16, which is the divine and the demoniac natures, right? Now, this is also a very packed chapter. It's only 20 shlokas as far as I remember. And there's so much packed into it about the destination, right? So chapter 15 describes this imperishable banyan tree, the reflection of it, which is the material world. And the modes of material nature nourish both the upper, like the upper branches over here, and auspicious divine branches of the tree, and the demoniac. The more demoniac and the more impious activities we do, the more down we go, in the lower branches of this inverted tree. And the better activities we do, the more pious activities we do, the more Nishkam Karma Yoga in Krishna consciousness that we do, the more we elevate ourselves upwards to this Banyan tree. Yes? So, chapter 16 describes the divine qualities that can elevate us to the higher, to these branches over here, and ultimately lead to liberation, which means we cross over this ocean of desire and we reach the spiritual world, Krishna, the real banyan tree, the real world, the real spiritual world. And it also describes the demoniac nature, the impious activities, the qualities, the mentality which drives us to the lower branches of the tree and ultimately to hellish conditions. Yes? So there are three sections. Okay, there are 24 shlokas here. There are three sections in this chapter: transcendental and demoniac qualities. That's the first section, the difference between the two. Then a big explanation of the demoniac nature. Now you may wonder why so much explanation has been given, because it helps us understand ourselves very clearly. So let us try to find ourselves whether we are in the demoniac side or the divine side. And if we are on the demoniac side, what all is there that we need to overcome and work upon. And then we both have a choice. The divine nature and the demoniac nature both have a choice in this material world to escape to the spiritual supreme destination. But the divine, they exercise that choice. But the divine, they stay away from that choice. And then they are perpetually cast into hell. Species after species, birth after birth. That is what it is. Correct? So from texts 1 to 3, it's kind of put in like all in one shloka, where Krishna talks about the different qualities of those who are Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha, those who have surrendered to Daivim, divine Prakriti, nature. What are the characteristics, what are the qualities of those people is described in texts 1 to 3. And let us read it for our own purification. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains these qualities with in great detail. As let me see, yes, he explains these qualities in great detail. Each and every of these qualities, Srila Prabhupada, in his amazing transcendental, compassionate purports to all of us, has explained each of these qualities over one paragraph so that we truly understand what they mean for us and how can we apply these in our lives. So let's read this for our translate for our purification. 16 texts 1 to 3. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharat, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. So these are all the qualities that are described. Now you may wonder that, I also have some of these qualities, right? Now these qualities are beautiful qualities, but you have to remember that they can either be based on the modes of material nature alone, and you can find people who are not following any spirituality, and they may have, non-violence, they may have renunciation, they may have aversion to fault finding, they may have freedom from covetousness, they may have modesty, determination, etc. And we appreciate them in that. But because there is no connection, those qualities are not in connection with the divine, the person is not in connection with the divine, that means the qualities are based on the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And as we discussed yesterday, the race between the modes. So if the mode of passion will become high, the person may not be able to sustain those qualities and may fall into the mode of passion and may lose those qualities. Or if the mode of ignorance becomes high, they go into that, and depending upon what situation of life they are in, etc. But these qualities remain permanent in a person, steady in a person, when they are based, when that person is connected with Krishna, constantly conscious of Krishna, engaging in a Krishna conscious life. Then these qualities are not based on the modes of material nature, they are based on Shuddha Sattva, transcendental mode of goodness, and these remain permanent because that person is not attached to anything of the material world, so the modes cannot harm. And because that person is surrendered to Krishna, and then as 7:14 we have read, Devi Heshagunamayi Mama Maya Durateya Mameva Ye Prapadyante. The one who surrenders Prapadyante unto me, Maya Medam Taranti, I will help them cross over these modes of material nature. Right? And therefore, in spiritual circles, we don't like too much appreciation of qualities and too much criticism of qualities. We don't do that because it is based on the modes. Yes, unless one is surrendered. So Krishna has described the divine qualities, and I humbly request you to read the divine purports of Srila Prabhupada. And then Krishna describes from 7 to 20, he describes the demoniac nature, Asurim Prakriti, right? The demoniac nature. And according to one's level of general detachment and selflessness, a person can become a character candidate for liberation. But so the root cause of this demoniac nature that is there over here, do we have that summit? No, we don't have a nice picture. The root cause of the demoniac nature is what? That is the inner choice we are making as a soul. Am I for Krishna, to serve Krishna? Do I have Krishna Trishna? Do I have thirst, Trishna, for Krishna? Or do I have Asat Trishna? Asat, temporary things, Trishna, thirst. So do I have Krishna Trishna or Asat Trishna? And depending upon that, we will either be falling in the divine qualities realm, the divine, those who are surrendered to the divine uh, Lord, or those who are surrendered to the demoniac nature. Yes. So all our choices in life are either Krishna Trishna or Asat Trishna, right? And once we make that clear choice inside of ourselves, once that choice is very clear to us, then that switch has to be made. And that comes through the support of strong sadhana and strong devotee association and very deep chanting and very sincere chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And I will request all of you that after you finish, at least I want all of you, I never do these kind of requests, but I humbly request all of you, for your benefit, please make a commitment to chant at least one round of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. If you're already chanting, then increase your chanting number of rounds, or do that whatever count you have decided, go deeper in that. Do it with more consciousness of Krishna. Yes. So what is the choice you have made? Is it Asat Trishna or Krishna Trishna? That has to be very clear. And depending upon that, you will either be developing divine nature or demoniac nature, and the results and the consequences of that. Right? So the people who are Asat Trishna, they see the material world as something for them to enjoy. This is a place for my enjoyment. I am here, the world is mine. And now people want to go to Mars, they want to go to the moon because they're like, I've seen everything in the earth. I've exploited whatever I could. I've achieved the peak over here. So let me find another place to do my brahmana and to go and control and to enjoy. So that is the Asat Trishna. They want to remain in the material realm. And this is all going to be destroyed. So we may think those people, those big, rich people are very intelligent. We may think Elon Musk is very intelligent or Jeff Bezos is very intelligent. Yeah, their intelligence in Asat Trishna. From what we know outside, we don't know their inner cultivation. But from what we see outside, they're very intelligent in Asat Trishna and satisfying that Asat Trishna. But it is based on the modes and it is temporary. It is temporary and based on the modes, and it is based in the material nature, whatever their achievements are. And we've already seen in the 8th chapter about how the world, the 9th chapter, how everything gets annihilated at the end of Brahma's, the partial annihilation at the end of Brahma's night, a full annihilation at the end of Brahma's life, and how everything gets annihilated. So why invest in something that is temporary, which is the Asat Trishna, the materialists, right? We want to go for Krishna Trishna. There are other people also. They also say that there are no material world, there is no God, it has no connection to the absolute. And they both are very frustrated beings. The materialists are frustrated because not all of their desires get fulfilled. And the impersonalists are frustrated because there is, there is no relationship, there is no reciprocation. So you're left alone. Right? So now Krishna explains these demoniac nature from text 4 onwards. And he talks about these demoniac qualities in text 4, which are defined by, just after he finishes defining the divine qualities, he talks about pride, anger, conceit, arrogance, harshness, and ignorance. Yes. And then the demoniac, what is their nature? They don't know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Right? They do not follow Shastra. They have unclean and improper behavior, and they are not truthful, and they are self-centered. So if we, I think this is the shloka which says, uh, where is it? Yeah. Uh, okay. I think that comes later. We'll get to that. And then then he says that what is their philosophy? Their philosophy is that the world is unreal. There is no God. They don't want to believe there is a God. Now, why do they don't want to believe there is a God? Why? Because then if they have to acknowledge God, that means they can't do their nonsense. They have to acknowledge a higher power. They have to acknowledge a higher truth. They have to give up on all their nonsensical material concoctions that they have done so that they can falsely whatever they have tried to believe so that they can continue enjoying. Once they know there is a God in control, it makes them feel inferior. And plus, then they realize there's a higher reality that they have to follow. And because they're intelligent, they realize that their nonsense cannot continue. Yes. So they say that the world is unreal. There is no foundation. There is no God in control. And they say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. Freud, right? Many other people like that. Yes, partially true, but not completely true. Very, very little part of it is true. Because all this production and all this family life and everything is finally produced of sex desire, the desire to enjoy and find shelter in that way. But we can make it dharmic by becoming grihastha instead of a grihamedi, where we dedicate our activities as a family towards surrender to Krishna. Yes? And then, because they have such beliefs and they follow such nature, they become lost. They become illusioned. They're completely lost. And they have no intelligence. You may say, Nahi, Baba, they are very intelligent. They are very intelligent in Asat Krishna and how to satisfy it. They don't have the real intelligence of Krishna and how to satisfy that and how to go ahead in that. Right? And their sense gratification becomes the prime necessity of human civilization. They are engaged in unbeneficial and horrible works meant to destroy the world. Oppenheimer movie, nuclear bomb. Do this mining. Let's do this. Let's do the fracking of the oil. Let's destroy the water. Let's own the water bodies. Let's own more and more land. Let's do all this. And they want to secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. That's what they do. Now let's see where we are in all of this. Whether we are in the divine nature, demoniac nature. Where are we? Right? And they take shelter of insatiable lust. They're absorbed in the conceit of pride. They're so proud, false prestige. They are sworn to unclean work. No matter how much you try to inspire them, they continue in the unclean work. They're attracted by the impermanent. I am the controller, I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, I am powerful. My enemies are defeated. I am the Lord of everything I survey. And there's this very beautiful, nice shloka that describes their, Ishwaroham aham bogi, jivoham balavan sukhi, that describes their consciousness. And you can read that when you are reading. So all of these different shlokas till 16 to 18 talks about them, talks about their mentality, talks about their nature, talks about what is the result, that they become so perplexed by all the anxieties of the material world. They become so very perplexed because material desire, and they're in the mode of passion and ignorance, and they become so perplexed and they're unable to do anything, right? And if you read text 13 to 15, one part of the shloka I really love, it is Ishwaroham aham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi adyo bhijanavam asmi Konyosti sadrisho maya yakshe dashyami modisya iti yajnaya vimohitaha. Right? So it says that, I've just read part of it. So much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him. And my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything I survey. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform some sacrifices. I'll give some charity. People should get something. And thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. So read all the shlokas and Prabhupada's purports, and then their preachings are that they perform sacrifices in name only, and they are perplexed by various anxiety, and they are bound by the network of illusion. And then when they're about like getting old and all, then they're like, oh, I have all this wealth. Will my heirs be able to take care of it or not? Will they handle it or not? Will they do something or not? And they become more and more attached to sense enjoyment. They do more and more wrong things for sense enjoyment, and they fall down into hell. And they are self complacent in spirituality. They're deluded by wealth and false prestige. They perform sacrifices in name only without any rules and regulations. And they become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Ravana, so many of us. They're envious of the person who is in their own body, who's always been there, who's given them everything, who's a proprietor of everything that they claim is theirs. And they blaspheme against religion also, right? And then what does Krishna do? Krishna is very heavy. Text 19. Tanaham dvishita kruran samsareshu naradhaman kshipamyajasram ashubhan ashurisva eva yonishu. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, I perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. Oh, you want this? Go for it. I'll give you more and more demoniac species. You'll be perpetually cast into the lower species of material existence. You'll be in the hellish planets. And then because they keep taking birth in the species of demoniac life, such persons can never approach Krishna, and they gradually sink down to a very abominable type of existence because they're so envious of Krishna, they're so offensive of Krishna. So it is better they don't approach Krishna and commit more offenses and more aparadh and more sin, right? So that is how it is. And then Krishna says there are three gates leading to hell. What are they? Lust, anger, and greed. Yes, there are three gates leading to hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man needs to give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. Very deep here, right? Whatever material desires we have, we develop greed for them, and we develop, anger when they're not fulfilled. And when we get them, we don't become satisfied. We want more and more. And the more we are in that situation, our soul gets degraded. We actually act out of envy of our own soul. The Shastras say it's called as Atmaha, self envy. We're not envious about anyone, we're envious of our own true self. We're not allowing that self to grow because we have these desires. And text 22, Krishna says that the man who has escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. And then he says in text 23, what is the definition of who's divine and who's demoniac? Right? So we got 22 is the one who performs acts conducive to self realization, which are in line with the scriptures, in line with the instructions of the Guru. But text 23 is Yah Shastra Vidhim Utsrijya Vartate Kamakarata Nasa Siddhim Avapnotim Na Sakhu Da Sukham Na Paramgatim. So he who discards scriptural injunctions I'm back. I don't know what happened, but I was kicked out of my own thing. And I'm back, and I'm happy that the stream is on. And thank you for hanging in. And we're back. So we're completing the. I can just let me know if you can hear me. So we're just completing the 16th chapter, and we'll quickly go back to our slides. So what Krishna is telling is that he's the last verse he's talking about is that therefore surrender. Yes, that's what he's talking about. Session, yeah, chapters 15 and 16. Here we go. Yes, here we are. Yes, okay, we're back. Thank you for hanging in and thank you for your patience. Yes. So, so then Krishna ends with, therefore, one should understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulation of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. Now, we cannot understand everything on our own. To understand the scriptures, we need gurus. We need bona fide gurus in the proper disciplic succession. I talked about that yesterday and many other places. And Srila Prabhupada explains that very elaborately in his purpose in the Bhagavad Gita. So, to understand Shastra, we need guru. And to purify our mindset and to develop a taste and to develop surrender to Krishna and attachment to Krishna, we need to be connected to Krishna's Nama, Rupa, Guna, and Leela. Nama is the holy name of the Lord. So, a regular practice of chanting the holy name of the Lord. Rupa is the form of the Lord, taking darshan of the form of the Lord, worshipping the form of the Lord. Nam, Rupa, Guna, qualities of the Lord. Krishna has already, so that we can develop attachment for him, he has shared some qualities. And we can read Krishna book, the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which Srila Prabhupada has given us, the Krishna book, where it's all about the pastimes of Krishna and the stories of Krishna and the Krishna's reciprocation with his devotees and the surrender of the devotees to Krishna. So that's Guna, qualities and Leela together, right? When we see the Leelas in action, we also see his qualities, and qualities have been explained in the Bhagavad Gita here and by the prayers of many, many devotees of the Lord. So, to achieve a release from the material condition of life and to move from asurim bhava ashritaha to daivim prakriti, we need to surrender to the scriptural injunctions through Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Yes, so that is the conclusion here. And next, we go now to the 17th chapter. Okay, so now we will look at the 17th chapter. So is it clear? Is it clear? Like what commitments are we making as we are closing in on the 17th and 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita? What are the commitments we are making? Some of us are making today about what are we going to do? We've been hearing the Bhagavad Gita. We've been following, reading the chapters, purports, explanations by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. What commitments are we going to make today? Yes. So chapters 17 and 18 is what we're going to talk about now. The Bhagavad Gita, in essence, Krishna completes in 17 chapters. The 18th chapter, very compassionately, again gives us a complete overview of all that has been discussed. Yes, and it ends very beautifully with a very special shloka by Sanjaya. Yes, it's almost like if you don't read the entire Bhagavad Gita, you just read the first verse chanted by Dhritarashtra and the last verse spoken by Sanjaya. And just see the connection between them is just amazing, right? How Sanjaya answers Dhritarashtra's inner questions that he has and anxieties that he has. But anyway, let's go to the 17th chapter first. So 17th chapter talks about the divisions of faith, and we are here to evaluate the quality of our faith, and gives us more explanation about the modes of material nature. And 18th chapter is a summary. So connection between the 16th and the 17th chapter is that, okay, I need to close this one. Yes. Yeah, the connection between the 16th and the 17th chapter is that in the 16th chapter, Krishna is established that the faithful followers of the Shastras are divine and the faithless are demoniac. But Arjuna is asking a question, in which category does a person fit who follows with faith something completely different from Shastra? Has no faith in nothing and just does their own thing. What is their, like, where are they situated? Are they in goodness, passion, or ignorance? Where are they on that banyan tree, Krishna, that you have talked about? Tell me where it is. So the 17th chapter begins with Krishna, Arjuna's question. O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principles of scripture, but they worship according to their own imagination? So they do some worship, but according to whatever they feel like, right? I want to do this, that's it. I'm going to do this, create a new system and do something. Are they in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance? Right? So then Krishna explains in text 2, and he says that according to the modes of material nature a person has acquired, even their faith can be of three kinds: in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance. So now hear about this, right? And then he says in text 4, he starts explaining the different. Um, so we actually have pure faith and attraction to Krishna as spirit souls, part and parcel of Krishna. But because we are in chosen to be in contact with the material world, chosen to have Asat Krishna, then we get attacked by the modes. We allow ourselves to be attacked by the modes. And then depending upon which mode is prominent in us, we have a faith in a particular system, right? So Krishna says that those who are in the mode of goodness, they worship the Devis and the Devatas. That's text 4, right? Those in the mode of passion, they worship the demons. Hiranyakashipu, we'll do Hiranyakashipu sadhana. We will say Ravana was so intelligent. I want to become like Ravana, right? And those who are in the mode of ignorance, or will become the mode of ignorance, will worship ghosts and spirits. They'll do all that, stuff, right? So that is what Krishna says. And then Krishna explains that even these people, they do a lot of tapasya and a lot of different things, but they go through severe austerities and tapasyas which are not recommended in the scriptures, and they perform them out of pride and egoism, and they're impelled by lust and attachment. They're foolish. They torture the material elements of the body as well as the Lord in that body. Lord is also troubled when you do nonsensical austerities, which are not in line with what is defined in the scriptures. And such people are known to be demons. Yes, even the food each person prefers, is not just the faith. Such people have characteristics, and the depending on the food also they like is based on three different mode. Same is true for austerities, sacrifices, and charity. And Krishna will talk about all four of these in the different modes. And let us try to understand the differences, and let us try to see which mode we are in and how we can come to the mode of goodness and then transcendental goodness by doing everything in connection with Krishna. So, foods in the mode of goodness, Krishna describes in text 8: juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. They're easy to obtain, and these are the food substances that are there. They're considered as sattvic, no onion, no garlic, vegetarian, and it becomes Shuddha Sattva when it is offered to Krishna, and we have it as prasad. That is food in the mode of goodness. Yes, and it's pleasing to the heart. It doesn't disturb your mind and heart and senses like the mode of passion food. Like food and goodness increases the duration of your life, no health issues. It increases the principle of satisfaction. True satiation happens in you when you eat food prasadam, food prasad offered to Krishna, and there is strength and health and happiness. Yes. Now, food in the mode of passion creates disturbance. It's too salty, too sour, too hot, pungent, dry, burning, right? Difficult to obtain. It's processed, not easy to obtain. Yes. And what is the effect? We are lying and cheating propensity increases, dissatisfaction increases, anxiety increases, restlessness increases, disagreements increases, like hurry, worry, curry. Like everything has to be fast and everything is like we are hurrying and then we are eating all this high, spicy, sour, pungent, that kind of food. And then we're always disturbed, anxious. And the effect is distress, misery, and disease. See, this is far from Krishna. Food in the mode of goodness is prasadam, which you're offering to Krishna, your bhoga, and you're honoring it as prasadam. So please start cooking and offering to Krishna. You will see, I have personally seen transformation in the behavior of so many people when they have shifted to a diet of prasadam. I see an impact in my own consciousness when what I am not eating is prasadam. I can feel an immediate hit in my consciousness because I'm so used to eating only a diet of prasadam every day. And not just you, the mindset of your family members will also get transformed when you serve them prasadam. And the first you cook the food, which is ingredients which are offerable to Krishna, and you offer it to Krishna, you cook it, offer it to Krishna, and then you honor it. You and your entire family, the entire mindset is going to change. The qualities of your relationship are going to change, and everyone is going to gradually move to transcendental consciousness. So that is very important. And foods in the mode of ignorance is chapter 9, Bhagavad Gita, right? They're prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten. We're all eating mode of ignorance food if we're eating stale food, right? Or we're doing a Swiggy, or we're doing a Zomato, or we're doing a Grub, or we're doing an Uber Eats, whatever you're doing. Food that is tasteless, decomposed and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things, right? Basically, food which is dead bodies, and those dead bodies, those animals that are killed for this food, they die with so much fear, anxiety, uh, anger, frustration, sadness. All those emotions are there in that body, and when we consume it, we get all those emotions in our body. This includes mushrooms, cheese, beef. This includes some people in some cultures have this thing like, let's make meat and put it in a bottle and then they eat it after 40 years, and the older it is the better it is, right? Even the wines and the beers and all, it's all food in the mode of ignorance. Increases distress, misery and disease in your body, right? And it puts you further in the tamagun. There's no possibility of you even having a bright face and a bright outlook to your own life. You become dull, your senses become dull, your intellect becomes dull, and you become lost over time. And what to speak of the karma? Yes, then text 11 to 13 is sacrifices in the modes of material nature. So Krishna told, right? Not just food, but sacrifices, austerity, and charity. Even that can be done in different modes. Now, sacrifices in the mode of goodness are done according to the directions of scripture. They are performed as a matter of duty without a desire for reward. So, if I do this charity, then this is the benefit I will get. That is not charity in the mode of is sattvagun charity. That is rajagun charity. Yeah, when you just do charity as a matter of duty, that's it. You don't think ye karne se I will get this person's loyalty or this organization will be under my control, or this will happen, or that will happen, or these people will behave with me, or my name and fame will increase. No, none of that. You just do charity as a matter of duty. Then that sacrifice. We're not sorry. I'm saying charity, but that sacrifice that you're doing, I'm doing it as a matter of duty, not charity. Sorry, uh, is is sacrifice in the mode of goodness. Then sacrifice is done in the mode of passion. You may do a big yagya, a big puja or something, and you're doing it for your material benefit. You're doing it for the sake of your own pride and your own aggrandizement, your own name and fame. That's mode of passion. And sacrifice in the mode of ignorance is just you just do something, whatever. I am doing this sacrifice. Right nowadays, weddings are performed when the bride and the groom they decide what type of wedding they want, and this is like it's all about me. I am not a very religious person. I want this type of wedding. I want this type of sacrifice. I want a pandit, who will we don't want too much ritual. We just want a little bit, and then that's it. We want to have our own vows in the wedding. Yes, you can do all that, and poor parents, they to satisfy their children's desire, they're like, okay, at least they're doing something. They'll try to find a pandit who will adhere to that. So this is all sacrifice. The yagya, the vivaha samskara is all in the mode of ignorance. It is without scriptural directions, without the distribution of prasad, without the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, and without remuneration to the priests, and without any faith. Such sacrifices are mode of ignorance. So if we are doing any of this, not distributing prasadam during a sacrifice, not following scriptural injunctions, no chanting of Vedic hymns, no remuneration to the priest, no faith, then it's in the mode of ignorance. So that means how important are these things as they are explained by Krishna. Then there is austerity, the tapasya that we do, the in the modes, right? So austerity of the body is also there, austerity of the speech and austerity of the mind, right? First, Krishna is explaining the three different types of austerity: austerity of the body, the mind, and the speech. And then he talks about austerity in the three different modes. Now, austerity of the body is to worship the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the devotees of the Lord, the spiritual master, and superiors like the father and the mother. That is the austerity of the body. right? To serve them with your body. And in following cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence. That is tapasya for the body. Nothing more than this Krishna is asking you. Austerity of speech is speaking truthful words, pleasing, beneficial, not agitating the hearts of others, and in regularly reciting the Vedic literatures. And then there is austerity of the mind. It's gravity in thought. Satisfaction is also an austerity of the mind. It's a tapasya for the mind. It's a fast for the mind, where you're not thinking about what I want and how to enjoy, but you're able to control the mind and be satisfied in what you have. And in simplicity, in self-control and purification of one's existence. These are the three types of austerities of the body, the mind, and of the speech and the mind. Now Krishna explains austerity in the modes, right? So speech could also be in goodness, passion, and ignorance. Mind could also be in austerity. The mind could also be in goodness, passion, and ignorance. And speech austerity or speech could also be in goodness, passion, and ignorance. Why are you doing this austerity? So austerity in the mode of goodness, this tapasya in the mode of goodness, it is done with transcendental faith to please the Lord, not expecting material benefits and only for the sake of the Supreme. Austerity in the mode of passion is out of fear or to get respect, honor, worship. It's not stable or permanent, because if you don't get those things, you will stop that austerity. You won't sustain it. And that's what happens to a lot of influencers. Yes, and then text 19 is austerity in the mode of ignorance, which is out of foolishness, complete foolishness, with self torture or to destroy or injure other people. Something they will destroy, decide in their mind, and they'll do some austerity, they will do torture to themselves or destroy and injure others. That is in the mode of ignorance. Now, charity in the modes. Charity in goodness is given out of duty without any expectation of return, at a proper place, at a proper time, to the right person, and in the right mood. Again, without any expectation of return. Charity and passion is expectation of some return, desire for fruitive results in a very grudging mood. Oh, I have to do this. I would rather enjoy. I'd rather watch a movie with this. I want to give. But okay, if it makes me look good, I'll give charity. Yeah. And charity in the mode of ignorance is at an impure place, at an improper time, to an unworthy person, without proper attention and respect. It's like you see a drunkard, they don't have money, and then you buy liquor for them. You're like, this is my charity. Improper person, improper thing, um, doesn't make any sense, doesn't help that person also, right? So, what is the conclusion here? So, Krishna has talked about how faith, austerities, charities, sacrifices can be in the different modes. Yes. So, what is the conclusion? The conclusion is he ends with Om Tat Sat. And in text 24, he describes Om Tat Sat. What is the connection here with what he has described so far is that the three modes and their effect on you can be very conditioning and binding. Now, all these defects can be removed from every combination of the modes of material nature. How can you remove those defects? By following chanting Om Tat Sat, right? Basically, what does it mean? It's not just chanting Om Tat Sat, it means something. So, text 24 is basically Om means Vishnu, placed at the beginning of the hymn. So, basically, remember the Lord and do everything. Tat is detached work for the sake of liberation, which is connected to Krishna. Okay? Freedom from material entanglement is the purpose, right? And they're not done for fruitive results. They're done to please Krishna, whatever work you're doing. And Sat is dedicate everything to the pleasure of the Lord and his devotees. So Tat is the work dedicated to Sat, which is the Lord, right? And he is the objective of all sacrifices, the beneficiary of all sacrifices. And so he's the performer of the sacrifices also. Everything happens from him. So all works of charity, sacrifice, and penance, they should be performed to please the Lord. And they are Sat, and they reveal our own true spiritual nature to you. Now, after hearing which activities are Sat, one wishes to know what qualities are Asat. And then Krishna explains that in the last verse of this chapter, which is this. I'll just try to pull up the Sanskrit for myself. So anything done as sacrifice, charity, or penance without faith in the Supreme, O son of Pritha, is impermanent. There's no use. It is called Asat and is useless both in this life and the next. it will get destroyed. You may think, "Arey, so many people are doing so much charity, they're getting good life." Yes, but that kind of charity they will get the good karma reaction of it, and then everything will be destroyed. But those who engage in these acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance in connection with the Lord to please the Lord, the results of that will never get destroyed. It's not like you come, take birth, enjoy the results, and it's finished. No, that does not happen when everything is dedicated to the Supreme. So, having said that, now we will look at the last chapter. So, basically, whatever Krishna had to describe is and explain to Arjuna, he has explained everything to him. The 17th chapter is done. Its conclusion, it's over. Bhagavad Gita is ending. But in the 18th chapter, Krishna, out of his compassion for us, he gives a full summary of the Bhagavad Gita. So, what is this perfection of renunciation? And that is described in the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So, here we go. Conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. And chapter 17, Krishna is the goal of surrender, and that is what it is. So Krishna begins his summary by reiterating his prescription to Arjuna that renounce the fruit of work and not work itself. Again and again and again and again, Krishna reviews that dutiful detached work brings no reaction. So when somebody comes and tell you that Gita brings vairagya, you will give up everything, you will give up family life, you will give up your work and everything. Therefore, you should not read the Gita. You should tell that those people who do that have not understood the Gita, because after hearing the Gita, what does Arjuna do? He fights. He doesn't want to fight, and Krishna speaks the entire Bhagavad Gita to him to inspire him to do his duty and to fight. That is what Krishna inspires him to do. So, Gita does not take you away from work. Gita teaches you the art of work and to do it properly. Yes. So, text 18. Okay, we don't have summary here. Basically, there are various sections here. You have the 18 from text 1 to 12, 13 to 18 is the second section, 19 to 40, 41 to 48, 49 to 55, 56 to 60, 61 to 63, and 64 to 66, 66 7 to 71. There are various sections over here. And then Arjuna becomes firmly fixed, and then Sanjaya ends the Bhagavad Gita with his prediction. Lot of verses over here. We'll go very quickly through all the slides. So here we go. So in chapters 1, like text 1 to 12 of the 18th chapter, Krishna gives a summary of the karma section of the first to 6 chapters. And basically he says, a true sannyasi, right? A true sannyasi does not renounce their work. Arjuna asks him that what is the difference between the purpose of renunciation, tyaga, and the sannyasa? What is the difference between tyaga and sannyasa? And then Krishna explains that giving up of activities in text 2 based on material desire is what great learned men call the renounced order of life. Basically, give up activities which are based on material desires, but you still remain active in serving Krishna. And to give up the results of all activities is tyaga. Okay. Now, some people say we should give up all types of activities because it's faulty. And then some people say that the acts of charity, sacrifice, and penance should never be given up. Yes. And Krishna says, now I will tell you what renunciation is. What is my judgment? And even renunciation, Krishna describes as of 3 kinds. Yes. And he talks about the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance, even in renunciation, right? And he says that all these activities should be performed in text 6 without attachment or any expectation of result. They should be performed as a matter of duty. That is my final opinion. That's it. So we cannot give up these activities. They must be performed. And such activities are purifying for us. So we must always do them. Yes. And again, prescribed duties also should not be renounced. Many people, they come to spirituality, they come to Krishna consciousness, they hear all the philosophy, then they want to give up everything. But if you give up your prescribed duties because of this false illusion, then you have renounced in the mode of ignorance, Krishna is explaining. And those who give up prescribed duties because it's very troublesome, it is bodily discomfort, they have renounced in the mode of passion. People do that. They renounce with wrong understanding, they give up family life, they give up everything, they leave their family to fend for themselves. Or they just say, "Arey, itna troublesome hai, kaun seva karega bade logon ki? Oh, it's too much. I can't keep going and meeting my parents in a different country or different city all the time. I can't do it. It's too much. I'm aging too." Arey, you've given up prescribed duties in the mode of passion then, right? And then text 9 is, and those who perform duties just because they need to be done, and they renounce all the association with the fruit, then such prescribed duties are they're performed in the mode of goodness. And a person who's an intelligent renouncer, Krishna is saying this again, they don't hate inauspicious, they don't hate work, neither are they too attached to any work. They have no doubt about work, they just do work as a matter of duty without thinking about their own comfort, discomfort, and some illusion or whatever. They just do it. So that is important. And why do they do work? Because a living embodied living entity cannot give up any work. So they have to do work because you can't give up work. So it is better that you engage in work but give the results to Krishna. So if you're serving your husband, serving your children, serving your in-laws, serving your own parents, or whatever you're doing, uh, serve in that consciousness that they are all part and parcel of Krishna, and it is my duty to serve them by making sure their needs are met. My duties are done towards him, plus a spiritual atmosphere is created in the house through prasadam, through divine chanting of the holy names of the Lord, so that they can all come to Krishna consciousness. Right? Text 12 is, for one who is not renounced, the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, and mixed, they will always keep accruing and collecting after death, and then you have to take another body. So that is the summary of the 1 to 12. And then we look at the next section, which is Krishna is now giving the Jnana section. And in this section, he talks about the 5 factors of action. What are the 5 factors of action? We've covered some of these things. And Krishna gives the summary of the 5 factors of action in the text 40. And he says the place of action, which is the body, Kshetra, the performer, Kshetragna, the various senses, material nature, the many different kinds of endeavor, karma, activity, and ultimately the super soul, the permitter and the overseer, are the 5 factors of action. Yes, and whatever right or wrong a man performs are performed through these 5 factors of action. And therefore, one who thinks only I have done everything, it's because of me, everything is happening, they are not very intelligent, Krishna is telling, and they cannot see things as they are. And therefore, he inspires him to fight. That don't be motivated by your false ego. Do your duty. Don't entangle your intelligence in nonsense. Do your duty properly. And you will not be bound by any actions because you're doing your duty under my direction. Yes, now doesn't mean you and I start going and killing people. Arjuna's duty is to fight. Our duty is to do our duties connected to our body and identity. Okay? And then Krishna explains further. So basically, this is a summary of chapters 13 and 17 that he gives in these 5 shlokas. And then he further explains in text 18 that knowledge, jnanam gyeyam parignyata, right? In the 8th chapter, Arjuna asks, who's the gyeyam? Who's the object of the knowledge? Who's the knower knowledge, right? Are the 3 factors that motivate action. The senses, the work, and the doer are the constituents of action. Deeper study you can go into when you read Srila Prabhupada's purports. I'm just rushing because this chapter is very big and I already had to take my internet, some issue was there and we have a lot to cover. So please read the purports so you get clarity. So 13 to 18 is a summary of the Jnana section of the Bhagavad Gita. Now let's go to 19 to 40, right? As given by the Acharyas, this section is karma, that the modes control all activities. Yes. So one's work, according to the 5 factors as mentioned above, is dictated in the 3 modes of material nature. So basically, knowledge in the 3 modes of material nature, your activities according to the 3 modes of material nature, your performance of action in the 3 modes of material nature, your understanding, your determination, and your happiness, all according to the 3 modes of material nature, is described from 19 to 39. So please read that at your leisure and at your timing so that you can understand which mode is prominent in you, which mode are you operating by. Yes. And text 41 to 48, Krishna talks about, so this 19 to 40 is basically he's introduced the modes of material nature in chapter 14. He's giving great detailed explanation on that. And then and how all our activities are controlled by the modes. Yes. And then 41 to 48, he's talking about how we are all in Sakama Karma Yoga. We are engaged in work, but it is like we want to get results for ourselves. But we need to move to Nishkam Karma Yoga, freed from the reaction of occupational work. And how do we achieve that? By following Varnashram Dharma, right? So according to the modes we are covered by, we have certain mindset and we are born in a certain Varna, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. And it is not that Shudra, something is wrong with them, that, oh, they're very low class and nothing. No, it's just that we are all in different modes, right? Now, based on the modes we are in, there is work defined according to our nature. When we engage in that work, which is defined according to the modes we are in, it actually sets us for success because it is aligned to our nature, right? So, what work I am doing right now, I used to be a techie and I used to do that, which was good and I was good at it. But this work that I'm doing right now is completely aligned to my nature. And I can see how it keeps me absorbed and how it helps me purify my existence and how it becomes easier for me to dedicate to Krishna. Now, that doesn't mean that just because you're not in a work according to your nature, your life is mess and everything. No, then do the austerity of the mind, strengthen your mind and engage in the work that is there. And, do that as an offering to Krishna. Okay. And anyway, in Kali Yuga, Kala Shudra Sambhava, everyone is considered as a Shudra because we are too disturbed, too distracted, and whimsical. Okay. And then Krishna describes the work of when we act according to the nature and the modes that we have acquired. So the work of the Brahmanas is in the mode of goodness, then Kshatriyas in the mode of passion and goodness also, because they're defined, they follow the injunctions of the scriptures. Then the mode of the Vaishyas is full mode of passion. It's fruitive, it's about how can I do this, and it's also in the construction and creation of things. And the Shudras is more in the mode of ignorance, and then it's also how, and their activities are described, who some are learning, some are administrating, protecting, some are engaged in commerce and agriculture, and some are engaged in serving the other varnas, the Shudras, right? So this is how it is defined. And when we do that work, it actually liberates us because it is aligned to us. It's the science of work. It is, you're a happy person then, and you are good at it and you are skilled at it, and then you dedicate the results of that and you grow. And then text 49 to 55, as the acharyas have given to us and the devotees have given to us, is the section on confidential knowledge from Nishkam Karma Yoga through liberation to devotional service. So we are doing Nishkam Karma, act without result, but then we offer the results to Krishna and we engage in the rules and regulations of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So from reaction-free work through Jnana Yoga, where we work and without attachment to results, to working and offering the results to Krishna out of love and devotion, that is Bhakti Yoga. Right? So these are the different stages. We've covered these different stages in another chapter, so I won't go into detail in that. The summary here is that when you perform Nishkam Karma Yoga, detached work, you attain goodness. The mode of goodness comes to you, and the knowledge that you're not in the body. Gradually, it increases your knowledge about who am I, where am I from, and then you want to connect more with your source, which is Krishna, and you want to engage in activities by serving Krishna. And then on this platform with devotion, you reach the kingdom of God. So you all can understand this is a section that talks about that. Then 56 to 60 is like this was about evolution to that stage of working in pure devotional service. And then 56 to 60 is working in pure devotional service of the Lord, right? And that is described that when you work on the platform of devotion, where you're still doing the same activities, but you're working in the consciousness of this, whether this will please Krishna, whether this will serve Krishna's devotees. How can I please Krishna through my work? And you glorify Krishna through your work. You go deeper and deeper in that, then fully depending on the Lord, being surrendered to the Lord, being fully conscious of the Lord. Then you will be free from the control of the modes of material nature. And Krishna already described in this previous section how 19 to 40, everything that we do is under the control of modes of material nature. But here, when we surrender and work in pure devotional service, then we can become free from the modes of material nature. We can attain the spiritual kingdom. There's beautiful Radha and Krishna. There are these gopis, there are the assistant gopis, there are the manjaris. There are so many people. They're all serving Krishna. Now, you may not be the primary gopi that play. Those positions are already occupied. You may not even become an assistant of the gopi. That is also done. You may become an assistant of the assistant of the assistant. Das, Anudas, Anudas, servant of the servant of the servant. And we may get bliss of serving Krishna. And that is the bliss we aspire to go to the place, Goloka Vrindavan, where Krishna is there, beautifully engaging in the pastimes of those devotees of the Lord, and where we are full of bliss, full of happiness in connection with Krishna and in serving his lotus feet and the lotus feet of the devotees over there, where there is no birth, disease, old age, and death, where there is no misery caused by the mind, by the living entities, by the elements, and you're completely free and you're always serving Krishna in an uninterrupted way. That is where we want to go, and for that we have to follow the processes that are given. Become a Nishkam Karma Yogi, perform your prescribed duties, offer them to Krishna, serve Krishna, remember him, chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, eat a diet of prasad, read the scriptures, serve the sadhus and the devotees of the Lord. And that is a process that has been given. Yes. So 61 to 63 is that, yes, this confidential knowledge that I am the spirit soul is very confidential knowledge. I'm not matter, I'm not this body, I'm actually a spirit soul. But more confidential than that knowledge is that the spirit soul must surrender to the Lord. It is not just enough to know your spirit, you're not matter. The more important thing to know is that I am spiritual. Who is Krishna? What is my relationship with him? And after you've understood that, when we surrender unto him, that is higher. And that is the most confidential knowledge which Krishna has given to us in this chapter. Right? And there's a very beautiful shloka. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridaya Arjuna tishtati brahmyan sarva bhutanam yantra rudhani mayaya. So the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart. Ishvara sarva bhutani. Hridaya Arjuna tishtati. Directing the wanderings of all living entities. Why? By overseeing and permitting. And they are seated on a machine. Yantra rudhani mayaya. Made of material energy. They think, I want to go here, I want to go there, I want to do this, I want to do that. The Lord is watching. But when we surrender, we attain a transcendental peace and supreme and eternal abode of the Lord. And Krishna is inspiring Arjuna to do that in text 62. O Scion of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. And in text 63, then he says, thus I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully and then do what you wish to do. So there's this classic line he says in the end of the 63rd shloka, Yatha ichchesi tatha kuru. Yatha ichchesi, whatever you desire, think about it carefully, then do what you wish to do. Look at the detachment of the Lord. He spoke of the entire Bhagavad Gita, and now he's telling Arjuna, I explained everything. Now you do whatever you think is you want to do. So he does not ever take the free will of the devotee. He is not thinking, I invested so much time. ये action क्यों नहीं ले रहा है जो मैंने बोला है? Why is he not listening to me? Why? Such a detached person's best coach, right? That is what we learn in coaching, that we have to be detached from the outcomes of what the client is doing. That is one of the skills we learn. We try to nudge them. We try to show the pros and cons of the consequences and things like that. But we have to be detached that why aren't they listening to us? Why aren't they doing what we're asking them to do? And Krishna is doing that so amazingly. He's the Supreme Lord. Yes? And he's telling, because you're my dear friend, I have given this supreme instruction to you, which is the most confidential knowledge. He's saying, yes, text 64. And that the most confidential of knowledge is to become not just surrender to the Lord, but to become a pure devotee of the Lord. And there comes the beautiful shloka, similar to the 9th chapter. The last two lines are different, which is Manmana Bhava Madbhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mame Veshyasi Satyam Te Prati Jane Priyosi Me. So Krishna says, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you, because you're my dear friend. Imagine the Lord is promising you. Just do this. You will come to me without fail, and I'm promising this to you. And text 66 is another very amazing shloka. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vaja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. Yes. So he's giving that shloka, that's text 66, is that abandon all varieties of religion that are coming from all of these different modes. Just surrender unto me. I will deliver you from all sinful reactions. That is so hope giving. We have so much boatload of karma. He's telling, Aham tuam sarva papebhyo. I will deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. I will help you in liberation and everything will be done. Just surrender unto me. Come to me. That is the whole purpose of your existence in this material world is you learn the lesson and you come out of it. Right? So if you just do that, there's no point in all this karma that is coming on you. I will take it away. The karma is given to you so that you learn. When you've learned it, I will deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. And then he says that, this knowledge, it can be told to and who it cannot be told to. Right? So preaching and studying the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna says that don't explain this knowledge to those who are not austere, who are not devoted, who are not engaged in devotional service, and those who are envious of me. Don't tell them, please. मत बोलो मेरे बारे में, मत बोलो मैंने ये सब बोला. उनको इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, let them do whatever they want. But for the one who explains this secret to the devotees, to those who are austere, who are devoted, who are engaged in devotional service, and who are not envious of the Lord, but they are loving to the Lord, then such a person who speaks this knowledge, shares this knowledge with others, pure devotional service is guaranteed. And at the end, he will come back to me. See, Krishna is explaining that. And then it is also explained that the devotees are so merciful that even if Krishna said, don't give it to these people and give it only to these people, they still go and give to everybody. Not fearing, because if they go and speak to people who are envious and all, they abuse, they mistreat, they do a lot of things. But they still do it because they are experiencing so much bliss in the Lord's service that they want others to experience it also, even if it comes at their own personal cost and inconvenience. Right? And Krishna says that the one who explains this secret to the devotees, in text 69, he says, there is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be anyone more dear than this person. So basically, Krishna is telling, once you have received this knowledge, like all of us, then we should go and share this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita with many, many more people. And Krishna says, nobody is more dear to me than the one who is sharing this knowledge about the Bhagavad Gita, about this most confidential knowledge about surrender to Krishna and engaging in pure devotional service to Him. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than He, and nor will there ever be anyone more dear than that. And I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours, X70, worships me with their intelligence. So we are all studying this sacred conversation between the Lord and Arjuna. We are worshipping the Lord by our intelligence. We are using our intelligence, engaging our intelligence in worship to the Lord. Yes? So this is text 70 and then 71. And one who listens with faith. So someone may not be able to explain, teach, understand, but they're just listening with faith and without any envy. They also become freed from all sinful reactions and they attain the spiritual planets where the pious dwell. Yes. And then text 72, Krishna says, O son of Pritha, O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with an attentive mind? And are your ignorance and illusions now dispelled? So he's asking, I taught you, did you hear properly? And are your whatever questions you had, you asked me, you gave me these reasons, 5 reasons you will not fight, and you had so many questions. Are they all dispelled? And then Arjun says that my illusion is now completely gone. So he is sharing what he has experienced, the Falashruti for himself, right? that I am firmly fixed. My illusion is gone. I have regained my memory. Right? He had lost everything. Arey, main kya kar raha hu? What am I doing? I should not fight. But now he's regained his memory. My eternal position is spirit, soul, part and parcel of Krishna. My duty is to surrender unto him and serve him through my prescribed duties and follow the order of the Lord. So he's like, I've regained that memory, Krishna. By your mercy, I am now firm and free from doubt and prepared to act according to your instructions. Which is he's going to fight. So is he doing Vairagya? No, he was to run away from his prescribed duties, where Krishna speaks the entire Bhagavad Gita in 45 minutes to bring him back to his prescribed duties. And here Arjuna is like, yes, I'm all set. Now, this is the conversation is done. And then Sanjaya is so happy. He's like, wow, I'm so blessed. I heard this beautiful conversation between two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna. Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and Arjuna is such a great devotee of the Lord. And so wonderful is this message that my hair is standing on end. Yes. And then he is expressing gratitude to Vyasadeva. By the mercy of Vyasadeva, I have heard these most confidential talks directly from the master of all mysticism. And what is the word he used? Yogeshwar. I have heard directly from the Yogeshwar. Directly from his mouth. I am so blessed and so grateful to Vyasadeva for giving me this chance. When Krishna is personally speaking to Arjuna, oh my God, what bliss. Yes. And King Dhritarashtra, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure being thrilled at every moment. What an opportunity. I am so thrilled. I am so blessed. And he is so full of bliss, Sanjaya. And he's telling, as I remember the beautiful form of the Lord, I am struck with wonder more and more. Krishna, Akarshan. Krishna, one of the meaning of his names is very attractive. Krishna is very attractive. And he says that as I remember his beautiful form, I am struck with wonder more and more. And I rejoice again and again. And then Sanjaya makes his prediction in text 78, which is Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Tatra Partho Dhanurdharaha. Right? That what is he saying? Wherever there is Krishna, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, wherever there is Krishna, the master of all the mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, that's what he's saying. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of the mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer. So, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Tatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. So then he says, there will be certainly, wherever these two are there will certainly be Shri, opulence. There will be victory, right? There will be Shri, there will be victory, there will be Tatra Shri Vijayo, victory, Bhutir, extraordinary power and morality, Dhruva Nitir, right? Dhruva, extraordinary power, and Nitir, morality. And that is my opinion. So, the Bhagavad Gita started with Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsava Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kim Kurvat Sanjaya. That was his question. Whose question? Our dear friend Dhritarashtra's question. That was his question. And if you don't read the entire Bhagavad Gita, if you just read the first question where Dhritarashtra is asking, oh, my sons and the sons of Pandu are assembled in this very holy place of Kurukshetra and all the other yuddhas are there. What are they doing? What are the activities? Right? And Dhritarashtra's inner reason for asking this question is basically, what are the chances for my son to win? Correct? And if you don't read the entire Bhagavad Gita, and if you just read the last verse where Sanjaya is making a declaration, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, right? Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mamaha. So wherever there is Krishna, the master of the mystics, wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will definitely be Shri, victory, opulence, there will be Vijayo, victory, there will be extraordinary power and morality. So basically, who's going to win? They are going to win. Yes, and Sanjaya is so much in bliss, and we are all also in so much in bliss that by Krishna's arrangement, we were all able to read and hear the wonderful conversation between Krishna and Arjun, study it and worship it with our intelligence by the mercy of the Acharya, great Acharya Srila Prabhupada, who has made this beautiful knowledge so easily available to us in the form of his books and purport as it is, without any deviation from what Krishna is wanting us to. Prabhupada has given us the exact translation and exact purpose to this in the disciplic succession. And we are fortunate to hear this, we are fortunate to read this. And I humbly request all of you to please complete your reading before 31st December 2023 so that you enter the new year with having read the Bhagavad Gita. And I know some of you are quickly reading only the translations, but I would humbly request you that at least after you've done the translations, please read each and every purport given so painstakingly by Srila Prabhupada, how much effort he had put in into even printing these books and taking them to the US and publishing so many books for us in so many different languages. And not only has he given us the book, he has also given us the process of Krishna consciousness, the Acharya. He has established a process of bhakti for us to follow. And so that we can follow the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita by just simply following the process given to us by Srila Prabhupada. And to make it very simple, you want to follow the A, B, C, and D. But before I get into that, I humbly request you to please read the purports by Srila Prabhupada, because just by his purports, we can all be uplifted in Krishna consciousness. Our consciousness is uplifted. This is a pure devotee of the Lord speaking to us and with so much compassion. And we will all be uplifted in our consciousness and in our surrender and in our service to Krishna. So my humble request is please make a commitment to do that. And please make a commitment to chant at least one round of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Run full mala of 108 buddies every day. And if you're already chanting, you can increase your rounds. You already reached a high limit of rounds. Then go deeper in your chanting, deeper in your surrender to Krishna, and go deep into that. For Bhakti Yoga, it is better to follow the process of bhakti that is given to us by Srila Prabhupada, the Vaishnava Sampradaya. And as the whole thing is given to you as it is, the personal form of the Lord, and how we can surrender to Him and serve Him. And now getting into the process, which is association, books, chanting, and diet. Yes. So the ABCD of bhakti and to follow the Bhagavad Gita in your life is A, which is to be in the association of the devotees of the Lord. When we are in the association of the devotees of the Lord, their desire to serve Krishna, their desire to be with Krishna, and how they live their life, and they're practicing bhakti yoga, that rubs on to us, and we learn so much. And when we are Tushyanti cha Ramanti cha, 10th chapter, right? And we are discussing confidential aspects about Krishna consciousness, and we are enjoying, relishing in bliss, ananda, by talking about Krishna and in taking each other's support and going deeper in surrender to Krishna. And then books are the basis. So we read books. The books are, we have to read the Bhagavad Gita, as Sangeeta ji is saying here. Her New Year resolution is to read the Bhagavad Gita every day with purports and explanations by that are there by Srila Prabhupada. And so books we have to read because these are the shastras. That is what we did over the last 9 days where we are completing reading of the Bhagavad Gita. I'm just giving you an overview. Please go deep into it. Yes. C is chanting. Every day chanting the Maha Mantra. It is the top mantra for Kali Yuga, to deliver us from Kali Yuga, to deliver us from our own mindset and to make us attracted to Krishna, because abhinnatvam nama namino. There is no difference between nama, the name of Krishna, and the namino, the holder of the name. So as soon as we say Krishna, Krishna is right there in front of us. Yes, Krishna is right there in front of us. So there is no difference. So please do one round of chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And hear the mantra as you're chanting, because that is what we can do. And the Maha Mantra, when you're chanting, all your senses are engaged. Your sense of touch is engaged in, with the beads. the divine beats, your sense of tongue is engaged in speaking the mantra, your sense of hearing is engaged in hearing the Maha Mantra. And as you focus on the Maha Mantra, you will realize how sweet and how kind and how compassionate the Maha Mantra is. And you will experience so much bliss and so much connection to Krishna when you chant properly. And D, which we talked about, is the diet of prasad, the mode of goodness foods that were described in the chapter 17. But you offer it to Krishna, and not just for yourself, but for your entire family. It is beneficial because it regenerates your spiritual intelligence. This is prasadam, that is, food has been honored by Krishna, accepted by Krishna, touched by Krishna, sanctified by Krishna, and spiritually surcharged by Krishna with his love. And when we accept that diet in our lives, then by accepting that diet, a lot of our material desires leave us, a lot of our confusions leave us, a lot of the ignorance, the avidya leaves us, and we become more and more situated in transcendental loving service to the Lord. And as a family, you can do that just by changing the diet. So I wish you all the very best. Thank you all for being here. And please read the translations and purports. And please also try to read about Srila Prabhupada in the vedabase.com, where the link I have shared for the Bhagavad Gita. If you search for more books, the entire Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrit is there about how his life was, how he surrendered to the instructions of his guru, and how at the late ages of late 60s and 70, he came on a cargo ship to the US, suffering various heart attacks, coming there in an unknown country, unknown place to preach the message of the Bhagavad Gita. And how, in a span of such a short time of less than 10 years, he established 108 temples, translated and gave us over 80 books in the English language, and set up this entire Hare Krishna movement for us, where we can not just, we have everything. It's a complete spiritual package where we can follow and we can surrender and we can serve the Lord. Yes, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. And I am just asking a little bit commission also. Uh, I humbly request you all to bless me and to so that I can go deeper in my surrender to Krishna and in taking shelter of the Lord and in my service to the Lord and the devotees. I humbly request you all for your blessings, and please make a prayer for me and please bless me as you enter into 2024. And whenever you can, I am ready. So thank you very much, and Hare Krishna.